I was standing in the arrivals hall of Sydney Airport when my entire world collapsed, again. The man walking ahead of me laughed, adjusting a child on his shoulder. His smile, his walk, his face. My heart stopped, because the man I was looking at died 3 years ago in a plane crash. They buried an empty coffin. I cried over ashes that weren't his. And now he was alive, with another wife and 3 children calling him Daddy. And I didn't scream. I didn't faint. I followed them. My name is Laura. 3 years earlier, I stood beside a grave holding my mother-in-law as she collapsed into my arms. My husband, Daniel, had been on a business flight overseas when the plane disappeared over the ocean.
No survivors. No bodies.
Just official reports and silence.
Daniel was everything to me.
We weren't perfect, but we were real. Or so I thought. After his death, I sold our apartment and moved in with his parents. They were broken.
So was I.
For 3 years, I cooked their meals, paid their bills, held my mother-in-law when she cried at night. I worked 2 jobs. I sacrificed everything. Because love doesn't disappear with death, right? Or so I believed. 3 years later, my company sent me to Australia for a conference. It was my first time traveling since Daniel's death. Something felt off the moment I landed, like the universe was holding its breath. That's when I saw him. Daniel.
Alive.
Older.
Thinner.
But unmistakably him. He wrapped an arm around a woman who was not me. She laughed freely, the way I used to. 3 children ran ahead of them. My legs trembled. Was I hallucinating, or had my dead husband just walked past me? I followed them outside the airport. They got into a car, a family car. Stickers on the window. Toys in the back seat. I noted the license plate. That night, I didn't sleep. The hotel room felt smaller with every passing hour. My mind replayed the image of him over and over, like a cruel loop I couldn't escape. I stared at the ceiling until dawn, my heart pounding every time I closed my eyes. The next morning, I rented a car and followed them again. They lived in a quiet suburb. Tree-lined streets. Children riding bikes. The kind of place people moved to when they wanted stability, safety, and a future. A future he stole from me. Their house was warm and welcoming. White fence. Garden trimmed perfectly. Wind chimes softly ringing in the breeze. I watched from across the street as Daniel carried groceries inside, one child clinging to his leg. He kissed the woman's forehead like it was muscle memory, like it was love he practiced daily. Then he helped a child with homework at the dining table, laughing gently, patiently. He looked happy. Happier than he ever was with me. Something inside my chest cracked. I started digging. Public records first. Property registrations. Business filings. Then social media. Family photos. Birthday parties. Holidays at the beach. Daniel wasn't Daniel anymore. He was David Miller. Australian citizen. Married. Business owner. Scrolling through those pictures felt like peeling my own skin off layer by layer. The dates made my blood run cold. He married her 6 months before the plane crash. 6 months. That meant when he kissed me goodbye before that flight, when he promised to call, when he told me he loved me. He already had another wife. That's when I understood. The crash wasn't an accident. It was an escape. The realization hit me so hard I had to pull over on the side of the road. I vomited there, shaking, my hands gripping the steering wheel as if it was the only thing keeping me from falling apart. I confronted his parents over video call. I didn't prepare my words. I didn't need to. Their faces told me everything before they spoke. They knew. They had always known. His mother looked away, unable to meet my eyes. His father stayed silent, his jaw clenched like a guilty man awaiting judgment. "He didn't want you hurt," his mother whispered. Her voice trembled, but it wasn't grief. It was shame. "So, you let me mourn a living man?" I screamed. My voice echoed through the room. 3 years of suppressed pain finally tearing free. They took his insurance money. They used my care, my labor, my loyalty. Every night I sat beside his mother when she cried. She knew her son was alive. Every meal I cooked, every bill I paid, every sacrifice I made, all of it was built on a lie they protected. And suddenly my grief turned into something colder. I didn't rush. Revenge tastes best when served slowly. I contacted a lawyer, then an investigator. I watched as professionals pulled apart the life Daniel had so carefully stitched together. The truth was devastating. Daniel had debts, affairs, a second family before the second family. He didn't fake his death for love. He did it to escape responsibility. He staged his death with help from corrupt connections, falsified documents, bribed officials, offshore accounts, insurance fraud, identity fraud, emotional fraud, everything documented, every lie traced back to him. I could destroy him, but first, I wanted him to see me. I waited outside his office one afternoon. I stood there calmly, dressed simply, my hands steady despite the storm inside me. When he saw me, his face turned white. "Laura," he whispered. His voice cracked like he was seeing a ghost. "Am I a ghost?" I asked calmly. People walked past us, unaware that a dead man was standing inches away from the woman he buried alive. He tried to explain.
Tried to cry.
Tried to justify. "I wanted a new life," he said, tears sliding down his face. "So you buried me in the old one?" I replied. That night, I handed his wife an envelope. I didn't say a word. Inside were photos, documents, the truth. She screamed. A raw, broken sound that cut through the quiet neighborhood. The children cried, confused and terrified. Daniel fell to his knees in the driveway, begging, reaching for a forgiveness that no longer existed. But I wasn't done. Neither was the law. Authorities arrested him weeks later.
Fraud.
Bigamy. Faked death. Financial crimes. His parents were charged too. Their home was seized. The money they lived on gone. Daniel's perfect life collapsed in front of the same world he lied to. And I watched quietly. I didn't feel joy. I felt peace. For the first time in 3 years, I was free. I moved back home. Started a business with the settlement money. Some nights I still think about the woman who lived beside me for years, loving a man who never truly existed. But I no longer visit graves. Because the man I loved never existed. Only the lie did. If someone you loved betrayed you like this, would you forgive? Or would you choose justice? Because sometimes the dead don't stay buried.